Hey there, and welcome to another A.D.K video. Today we're doing an album review, and it's just me doing it. So it's the band is Kill Devil Hill, and the album is Seas of Oblivion. Let's talk. One of the first things we like to talk about on this channel is band names. Band names are vitally important for a band. When you see a band name, when you read a band name, it can make that decision about whether or not you're going to go any further and take any interest in that. It's not because you're being snobbish, it's because you have so little time. You've got 50 bands in front of you, and you have time to listen to 2 or 3 albums. Which ones you're going to pick? And you tend to go for the name that grabs your attention. It's that observation thing. And I think Kill Devil Hill is a great name. I think it works really well. It grabs. There's a multiple of different reasons why. The double L endings of all 3 words. The word devil in there. I mean, there's lots of reasons. As a rock metal guy, that you're going to want to check this band out, and it's going to grab your attention. Seas of Oblivion, album title and cover art. Not a big fan of that. Doesn't tell me much, doesn't mean much to me. But yeah, it's got a good band name, so let's go from there. It's a 15-track album, which is quite excessive. And I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the review. But yeah, 15 tracks is good. If you're buying a physical CD, you're getting plenty of songs to work with. Now, for anyone that doesn't know the band, or you're trying to think, well, where did I know this band name before? You'll probably be like me, and you'll have known about the band from its original lineup, which was almost a super group at the time format, and it kind of gained attention due to the inclusion of Pantera bassist Rex Brown and Sabbath drummer Vinny Appice. Now, those 2 have both since left. We have Matt Snell, formerly of Five Finger Death Punch, taking over on bass duties, and Johnny Kelly taking over on drums from Type O Negative. So we've still got that kind of overall vibe of the band, but I think now, without the distraction of the Rex Brown, we can get a bit more of an idea of this overall sound. And I guess what's interesting for me is you can definitely hear the influences on this album of both Matt Snell bass Five Finger Death Punch, and of course Johnny on from Type O Negative on drums, and you can hear that on certain DNA on certain tracks. The question that initially came to mind when thinking about this band was, is there a need for this band in today's scene? This thought was not meant to be a disrespectful comment in any shape or form. This was just where my head went. And it was more a case of about the last album and its overall impact. I own the album, and occasionally I'll dig into it and put it on, but it's not an album that broke its way into my top 100 albums, for instance. So I listened to, I couldn't tell you a song off of that first album that has sort of connected with me or hooked its way in. It was a solid groove metal album. It's just missing that special something to hook me in, and that's why I kind of went, is there a need for it? Is there going to be something, hopefully there's something on this album that's going to make me go, yes, there's something there that's got me hooked in. And I'm sure there's going to be people out there going on about the hook, going, oh, you're obsessed with hook. Hook is important. You may think it's cheesy, you may think it's commercial, but hook is vitally important in music. You've got to have it. You've got to have something that's going to earworm people and get them remembering your song if you want to succeed. Now, prior to listening to this album, I had heard Blood in the Water and felt that it was a great solid groove metal track, but again, it was missing something to make me go the wow factor on it when we reviewed it for the channel. So, without further ado, let's go through the tracks. Now, I'm not going to go into massive details about song context and stuff like that on every single song. I'm just going to kind of take you through it and just tell you what I was thinking as I was listening to them. So, Blood in the Water, as already stated, is a great groove metal track. Great up tempo. The track reminded me of kind of Damage Plan. The track is what saved me. It's also got swagger and attitude. Judy's vocals are on point and have lots of power and emotion. There's a little bit of a lack of bite on certain words. Basically the emotion is like on, and it's on all the time, and it's the same level of emotion. It's almost like he was just trying to be too precise on delivering that overall level of emotion, and it's like sometimes your emotion changes slightly. You get a little bit more angry or a little bit, and I don't feel that. There's some bite that was missing for me. But generally, yeah, Blood in the Water, good song. Thoroughly enjoyable. Before the Devil Knows, this has that lo-fi intro, which is something that makes me think back to the late 90s and early 2000s metal, where everyone would have the song that would start in like like it was on like a stereo in a car somewhere, and then it would all kick in. It's fun if you haven't heard it done that way before, but if you have, then you already know what's coming up, and it makes it feel a little bit redundant. The vibe of the track is similar to Blood in the Water. Nice groove riff, solid drum groove, has an interesting short solo that could have maybe gone on a bit longer. There is an almost Alice in Chains vibe to this track, and I will mention Alice in Chains starts to come up quite a lot in my thought process around this, and I don't know if this is intentional from them. Playing with Fire, did I say Alice in Chains? Holy crap, this could have been an Alice in Chains rock riff. And I really mean that. With Playing with Fire, this sounds like an Alice in Chains song from start to finish. I actually started thinking, is this a cover song when I was actually reviewing this? Now, I like Alice in Chains, so I'm going to say I like this track, but I do wonder if they are aware of how much they sound like Alice in Chains at this point. There are parts of it also reminds me of Metallica's Reload, which people had also said sounded a bit like Alice in Chains at points, so that all kind of makes sense. But if you're an Alice in Chains fan, Playing with Fire is going to be a great one for you. Undertow, it's got a whammy pedal led effect, kind of wow, 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 wow riff, which is kind of interesting. More of a hard rock delivery with a bit more of the Alice in Chains swagger that we've already talked about. It kind of lacks the legs to sort of take you through to the end. It's pretty forgettable overall as a song, apart from that whammy riff, which kind of sticks in your head. Pharmaceutical Sunshine, which is the new single that's coming out. An acoustic intro straight into an emotional delivery from Dewey. If you like kind of Temple of the Dog grunge icons, then this is a track for you. It's got groove, it's got emotion, great solo. Dewey just lets the emotions flow on this track. It punches off all the members of the band coming together wonderfully. So this is the first song which made me kind of feel like it hadn't just been one person in the band writing the riffs. Up until then, it felt like one person kind of coming up with the song. This felt more like everyone connecting and having their input. Eye of the Storm, I am going to stick to saying Alice in Chains, but it is just undeniable. Grungy, sludgy riffs, loose drums that just flow through the track, and an easy vocal delivery for this particular song. But again, nothing that really sort of stood out. There's no real hook to this one. Darkest Days feels different to the previous tracks, more of a sinister attack on the track. Makes you think someone else in the band maybe wrote this to the previous guys. If I was to put it, probably Johnny Kelly probably would have been my guess on that one. Nice build up to the chorus. It's got an element of sleaze, the track, but doesn't feel out of place on the album, so it's nice to have some sort of break up on that point. The bitter end is dark, it's creepy with a bit of a clean vibe, and my first thought was, again, did Johnny write this one? Because it does have an element of typo on this. It's a bit gloomy, a bit doomy, makes a nice change, clean eerie guitars, tormented vocals. It's almost a twist, it's almost a cross between Typo Negative and Black Label Society at this point. Devil in the Deep Blue Sea kicks it back up a gear with a solid groove riff, lots of vocal layers, sounds great, but it's a question how they sound it live. So what I've noticed on this album so far is with Dewey, there's a lot of harmonised vocals, and I'm questioning how they're going to do it unless someone else in the band is going to do it, maybe Matt. Seize the Day, Metallica Load era riffs. I want to write something more profound, but the songs are starting to feel like they're blending together at this point, and this is potentially the issue of 15 tracks on an album that are of similar tempo and similar song structures. So Seize the Day was instantly forgettable for me. You Can't Kill Me California, a bit more speed, a bit more attitude, a bit more aggression. I like it. It's roots from early 80s thrash with a modern hard rock vibe. It's got a great hooky vocal chorus, and that's the first real hook on the album. Nice solo, and even a bit of a Dewey growl, which sounds great. From the Ashes, it's the 80s and 90s. This would be a classic rock power ballad on an album. It's solid. It makes me think of like the Guns N' Roses era ballads, in vibe only, but not in vocal delivery. It's definitely not Axl Rose vocal delivery. If you like power ballads, this is a good song for you. Stranger Than Fiction, really tasty riff, nice tempo, gives the attitude to get you into the song. It's short-lived due to the verse being more of a half-tempo affair, and I think that kind of kills that momentum. That intro had the chance to really kind of take you back in after a power ballad, but going half-time on the verse, it needs a bit more to bring you back in. Interesting, it's got a 3-3-2 structure on the pre-chorus, which I really liked. That was probably the standout part for that song. Sea of Oblivion, sorry. Title track of the album. It's also the second to last song on the album. Sludgy with a sinister groove. It's like the batteries are falling out of your music player. I liked it. I really like that one. And final track on the album is Solitude, which is actually a cover of the Black Sabbath song. Sounds great, but as I said, it's a cover. They did a good job of it, so nothing more to say on that. So that's it. I couldn't go into massive detail on all songs because one, there's 15 songs, so it's a lot harder and you'd be here all day. I just wanted to share my initial thoughts about what kind of vibe I was getting from the songs. I guess in summary, you're getting good value for money here. You're getting 15 tracks. However, not many of them stood out as tracks that hooked me as standouts on their own. Now, some songs take more than a couple of listens to get you in, to get under your skin, and I think if you listen to this album as a whole multiple times, then that might be the case with this album. I think there is some good or even great tracks on this album, but there's not many hooks. There's a lot of guitar riffs, but not a lot of hook riffs or vocal hooks, and that's the issue I'm finding with this song. There wasn't anything to kind of hook into my brain and make it stand out for me. The guitar work, solos on this album are great, same for drums and bass. For me, and even Dewey's vocals were great. For me, this album lacks the hooks you need to get under your skin, but if you're into things like, you can hear your influences like your grunge and specifically Alice in Chains, but this band sounds like a mashup of Damage Plan and Alice in Chains. That's where I would kind of go if you're not really understanding what you think this band's about. And if you like that style, if you like Damage Plan, and if you like Alice in Chains, then I think you're really going to enjoy this album. Now, we need to score it. Now, on this channel, we don't give you a score of like 4 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 or anything like that, or 4 out of 5 or any of those sort of scores. We give it a grading out of 4 categories. Now, the first one is it's either a bin it, which means it's an awful album, you shouldn't even buy it. A trade it, which means someone's going to like it, but not you. A stream it, which means it's a good album, and you should check it out online and stream it from your streaming platforms, or buy it, which means it's a great album and you should go out and buy a physical copy. For us on this channel, it's going to be a stream it. I personally think that there are some good songs in the album. There's a lot to digest. It does feel very samey through all the way out, so I think you just need to work out where it is that you want to go, what songs you want to pick from, and I think that's why it goes to a stream it from us. Now, if you like this video, please do like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the video sometime very soon. Take care.